America, I'd really like to know how the Justice Department in the news today is going to stop defending a law because they say it's unconstitutional. That's not the Justice Department's decision. That is the lawmakers' decision and the courts. I don't understand. When did we stop? When did our government, when did our law enforcement arm start deciding which laws they were going to enforce and which ones they didn't like? Last week, President Obama threw his support behind the Wisconsin labor unions, and it's no wonder why. He owes his union buddies a lot, like Richard Trumka from the AFL-CIO. Oh, he owes this man a ton. And you know what? Part of the payback came today. He announced that Trumka is going to sit on the newly formed Council on Jobs and Competitiveness Council. This is great. He's going to help create jobs. The union boss help create jobs, and it's led by GE's Jeff Immelt. So this is a sweet deal. Listen to NBC's Andrea Mitchell, what she discovered. The president hasn't even spoken to at least 6 of his cabinet members. Watch.
You report that, in fact, there were half a dozen cabinet members who had not heard from the president personally, had not gotten a phone call from the president or had an opportunity to be one-on-one with him in the first 2 years. 2 years.
The source for that particular piece of reporting that I mentioned, Andrea, is someone who's a very senior Democrat in Washington. He was shocked to hear that a number of them, he said a half a dozen, had never had a single phone call from the president in the course of the first 2 years up until that point.
2 years.
That is a pretty dramatic thing because it tells you not only the president wasn't listening to people outside the administration, he wasn't even listening to senior members of the administration. He was really only listening to a very small group of people.
Got it. Who are those people? Well, the White House is speaking with AFL-CIO leader Richard Trumka a lot. Watch this video.
How often does the White House, do you get have conversations with the White House? Conversations or via the White House? Both. Yeah, or how about via the White House? I mean,
I'm at the White House a couple of times a week. Okay. 2-3 times a week. I have conversations every day with someone in the White House or in the administration.
Okay, so this man is a counselor to the White House. President hasn't called some of his cabinet members, but the White House meets or speaks with union boss Trumka 2 to 3 times a week in person at the White House, or calls every day. What are they working on? What is it? Who's making these calls? Who's taking it? Shouldn't we know? He puts out this message of solidarity with the Egyptian uprising. A concept, when we brought it up, we said it was a concept deemed by the left as being, oh my goodness, just too crazy to be real. Watch what he says to the Egyptian people.
The American labor movement stands with the people of Egypt and its new independent unions. When the people lead, your leaders will follow. The future's on the side of democracy and social justice. And we want you to know that you're not alone. We stand in solidarity with you.
Okay. Has he issued one of these for Libya? By the way, Dick only used the term social justice 3 times in the 1 minute and 51-second message, just in case you didn't know what he was talking about. Social justice. And you don't suppose that he has an eye on these new independent unions in Egypt to maybe someday hook up with the AFL-CIO, do you? No, it couldn't be. It couldn't be. No. Richard's on the board of the EPI, the Economic Policy Institute, right here, EPI. Now, the president of the EPI is a longtime member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Remember the flower and the rose, it's kind of important. Democratic Socialists of America. Now, Trumka also sits on the board for the National Jobs for All Coalition, which has endorsed the DSA's Friday Night Vigil for the jobs event that they have going on. Oh, and the AFL-CIO Solidarity Center is dedicated to building a global labor movement. I want to show you that this is a report that came out on Egypt from the Solidarity Center, from the AFL-CIO, and it has a message here about how important Egypt is and revolution and what can be done here. The struggle of workers' rights in Egypt. I mean, it's quite impressive. And when I first got this, I thought, boy, how did they put all this work together? in such a short time. No, it wasn't actually that short of a time. Can you pull in here? You pull in real tight right here. You'll see when this was published right here. February 2010. It's almost like they saw this coming. If the global economic crisis has taught us one thing, he writes, it's that we're all connected. That's why it's more important than ever before to stand behind workers in Egypt who are trying to reinvigorate the union movement in their own country. Look, if using the code word phrase for socialism over and over doesn't give you a clue about what Trumpka might be talking to the President of the United States about, social justice, almost every day, we might just as well just admit that we are as clueless as the people I am about to show you next. Wow. We all know that it's crazy talk now to say that the Egyptian unrest would spread beyond its borders. Sure, rioting and protest have hit Bahrain, Algeria, Jordan, Yemen, Morocco, and of course the bloody revolt in Libya, just to name just a few. Saudi Arabia's coming too. Yes, protest and unrest are now sweeping through our own country, including this union uprising in Wisconsin. But even though we have the AFL-CIO saying we all have to unite, this is all purely coincidental. It's amazing coincidental timing. That's all it is. Well, I mean, and there's this list of this group on the left supporting the union's efforts right now, which is weird because these are the same names that were on that part of that One Nation thing. Oh, and the communists have rallied for the teachers in Wisconsin. Teachers, you must be so proud to stand next to the socialist and the communist. The Socialist Party USA put this statement out. As socialists, we stand steadfastly in solidarity with the protest movement. We pledge to support the immediate goal of blocking Governor Scott Walker's reactionary and draconian anti-union legislation and the longer-term project of building a serious left-wing political movement in the U.S. Oh. Who are you standing with, teachers? Oh, maybe you're just standing with Code Pink. Code Pink, the founder Medea Benjamin, wrote this: "My travels from Cairo to Madison seem like one seamless web. After camping out with the students and workers in the Capitol building, I gave an early morning seminar on what it must be like to be an eyewitness to the Egyptian revolution and the struggles that are taking place right now in places like Libya, Bahrain, and Yemen. Folks told me all day how inspiring it was to hear about the uprisings, i.e. revolutions, in the Arab world." She went on to say that protesters were carrying signs saying, "Welcome to Cairo," and "From Egypt to Wisconsin, we rise up." But again, to say that there's anybody involved in both of these and there's some sort of tie-in by the far left, that's just crazy talk. And the protest in Wisconsin and elsewhere, it's so silly that, well, okay, we have videotape of this. This is a socialist liberation, like liberation theology, a socialist liberation group. They've got the red signs and the banners, and here they're singing songs of solidarity in Wisconsin. You got it? But if you follow this crazy group, you then see this camera, faux news, doing a fake interview with this guy. Listen to the interview and what he says.
In fact, you're the only one out there who's telling the truth about the conspiracy that unites the Marxists and the communists and the fascists and the teachers and the liberals. And the liberals are all like on the chalkboard and they're all like interconnected and they're all like putting their foot on the taxpayer's neck.
So they're mocking me, saying that there is no connection here. That's crazy, with the red socialist banners marching behind him. You have to ask yourself, are they this stupid? No, their only defense is to discredit. Unfortunately for them, the only thing that will remain standing in the whole world will be the truth. There are all kinds of rallies and now protests going on. I want you to do yourself a favor. Ask yourself, who am I standing next to? I know the Tea Parties kick racists out. We've shown you that. I want to make sure everybody kick racists out. I don't want to stand with a racist. And when you check the other person you're standing next to and you realize, oh, wow, this person is a pretty good person, you can gather 500,000 people on the mall and it remains peaceful and people help each other. When they tried to do the One Nation rally, did anyone there notice that they were standing with communists? Probably not. That's why the whole place was trashed when they left. Pay attention to who you're standing next to. Teachers, firemen, policemen. Are you standing next to somebody who really cares about the worker and you, or is somebody that just wants to strike out in violence? They want anarchy or communism. Are they for the Constitution? Because I know you most likely are. Ask yourself, whose team am I on? What team are you on when you're standing next to communists? Oh, I know they'll go undercover again and they'll ditch the radical pose for the radical ends, to quote Van Jones. But you can't accept a pose. You have to be enlightened and educated and empowered to be able to save the Republic. Tomorrow we're going to spend some time on the Union uprising. That's what it was, partially. Union uprising in Egypt, not spontaneous. Who was planning it over a year ago? And also the history of violence with the unions. Prepare yourself. There's some nasty people out there. From New York, good night, America.